Good morning, fourth grade. This video is on assignment 15.01, and it is the topic is geometric measurements on angles and angle measurement. So what I did is I made copies of some of the pages that are actually in the lesson that you'll be filling out and completing. And some of you might have already done this. So if you want to watch the video and if you didn't do quite as well on the assignment, then you can redo the assignment. So I'll go ahead and share my screen with y'all. Okay. And again, this is following the assignment, just like it is on your computer, which says line them up. All right, it talks about matrix. So what we're going to be learning in this lesson is I'll be able to understand that an angle is a shape that is formed when two rays share a common endpoint. I will be able to identify points, lines, line segments, rays, and angles. I'll be able to draw points, lines, line segments, rays, and angles, and I'll be able to identify the same things as well. All right, so it talks about points and lines and when they meet. So first we need to understand what a point is, okay? So a point is an exact location, all right? It doesn't have a certain size, it just has a location. It can be anywhere, okay? And you can see these are all different points. Now a line segment, okay, is when you have two different points, okay? So here you have 2 points, a point here and a point here, and on this line you have 2 points, okay? And then you have a straight line between them, all right? This is called a line segment, all right? The line stops at the point on each side. It stops, okay? So it says when 2 points are connected together with part of a straight line, it's called a line segment, and it always has 2 endpoints, okay? Now in this case, all right, we have a line, okay, that it has 2 points. So inside those points is the line segment. But then you notice that you also have an arrow going off to the right and an arrow going off to the left. Anytime you see an arrow, that means it goes on for infinity, okay? As far as it goes, it just keeps going and going and going. Same thing on the left side, all right? So this is called a line when it just keeps going forever, all right? And remember, in the middle, if I didn't show those 2 arrows, that would be a line segment, okay? So the difference between a line segment and a line is that a line segment ends. It ends at the points. A line keeps on going in the directions from right to left. Now we talk about a ray. All right, a ray actually keeps going in one direction, but not in both. You see here, it stops at this point. But if you keep going to the right, that arrow tells us it keeps going on forever. Okay, so a ray is a line that only goes in one direction. It stops in the other direction. All right, and then it talks about a vertex. Okay, let me go back. It talks about a vertex. The point where they meet is called a vertex. So it says when 2 lines or line segments or rays connect at a point, they create an angle. All right, so here we have 2 different lines and they're creating an angle. They're going in different directions. So where they meet is actually called the vertex, okay? Called the vertex. And don't worry about getting these. It's a lot of terminology in this lesson. There's a page here that's coming up shortly that has all the definitions of the vocabulary that I'll be going through. And I'll be making a copy of that and sending it to your inbox. Okay. Now here, when you have 2, you have a line going vertically and vertically up and down, and a line going horizontally. Okay, it says if two lines are the same distance apart, they will never meet. So this is not two lines. All right, this one here on the bottom would be two lines that never will cross each other. So those are called parallel lines. They will keep going and going, and you'll still have the same distance between each one, and they'll keep going on into infinity. All right, so these are called parallel lines. Now another line here is called a perpendicular line, okay, which forms a 90-degree angle. So in this case, we have our vertical line going up and down, our horizontal line going across. It forms these straight lines in the middle, and that all actually forms a little square. All right, so each one of these angles, this angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle, are all what we would say are 90-degree angles. Okay, and what you'll learn what 90-degree angles are, might learn it either this year or next year in 5th grade. We also call those right angles. Okay, those are 90-degree angles. And when these two lines meet, when you have 90-degree angles, it's also called a perpendicular line. Okay. So here is what they call refresh your memory. All right, so these are all the different parts that make up shapes. So I'll go through these, and I'll also send this to you. We talked about a line first, and it extends in both directions with no end, and that symbolizes it with an arrow that keeps on going to the left and going to the right, and that keeps on going forever. The line segment, which is inside that line, that has these points, okay, it actually connects 2 points. A line segment is the line that connects 2 endpoints. A ray is a line that has 1 point that stops and 1 direction that goes on forever, and that signifies by an arrow. So I could also draw it where I have my point going to the left. That would also be a ray. Okay, but it's going to the left forever, going to the right. An angle is the amount of turn between 2 straight lines. So this right here is an angle, and that right there line we talked about is also called the vertex. That's where those points meet when those 2 lines cross each other. And the point is just an exact location. And we talked about when 2 lines keep on going and they never touch each other, and those are always called parallel lines. Think of different shapes that might have parallel lines. What's a shape that might have a set of parallel lines? I can think of 2 shapes right off the hand. I can think of a rectangle. A rectangle has a parallel lines that go vertical and also parallel lines that go horizontal that never touch. I can also think of a square. Okay, a square also has 2 sets of parallel lines. This line is parallel to this line, and this line is parallel to this line. They will never touch each other. And then the opposite of parallel lines would be called perpendicular lines. And those are lines that actually cross each other, and they form a 90-degree angle. Okay. All right, so here's just some examples. It says, using this image, identify the points, lines, line segments, rays, and angles. Okay, so we can identify some of these. Let's see. What would we call this point to this point? What would we call this? That would be called a line segment. Okay, a line segment. And then this line from this point to this point will also be called a line segment. Okay. Then I have this line that goes across from here to here. It's got two arrows. So remember, when a line that has two arrows is actually just called a line. And this one right here also is called a line. Okay. Would this be a perpendicular line? No, because it's not, does not cause a right angle. It's not going like this when you cross where it's a right angle. Okay, 90-degree angle. And then we have this last example here. I have this point to this point. Okay, this is actually still a line, but this one's a little different. This one has a point here and it has a line that's going with an arrow. So if it only has one arrow, then that's called a ray. And does anybody remember what we call when two lines cross each other and they meet? Okay, that's called a vertex. And remember that vertex also, that angle, it forms an angle, as well as this is an angle. So this right here would be perpendicular lines if this kept on going, but it doesn't keep on going because it's a line segment. But if this line kept on going, it would be actually create a perpendicular line. Okay, those are just some examples. Okay, and it talks about these are all angles. Okay, and then it gets into the assignment. Okay, I'm not going to do this because this is what your assignment is that you have to upload, but I'll just go through each one. So it says solve each problem using strategies that you have learned in this lesson. So you have to just draw a point here. Here you just need to draw a line. What makes a line? Here you need to draw a line segment, and here you just need to draw a ray. Well, you can go to your sheet. Basically, I don't like to call it a cheat sheet because it's not a cheat sheet, but this will help you with all your vocabulary. And this will help you actually write those and draw those. And then I ask a question about how is a line segment different from a line? How is a line segment different from a ray? Here it asks you to draw a pair of parallel lines. So a pair would be two. So two parallel lines. And here it'll ask you to draw a pair of perpendicular lines. And then for the last one, it says use this shape right here to complete questions 8, 9, and 10. And it says draw a triangle around a point. So pick any point and draw a triangle around it. And it says draw a box around the line segment. So pick a line segment that you want to pick and draw a box around it. And then the last one would be to find an angle and draw a circle around that angle. So in this shape, you want to answer those 3 questions. All right, so hopefully this will help you complete 1501. Sorry, it's a little bit late. I said I was going to try to get it done by yesterday, but some things came up. So hopefully you'll be able to view this video and this will help you complete 1501. I hope you all have a great day. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me through your inbox.